All right, everybody. Welcome to the Texas Foundations Fund 2026 application webinar. My name is Ana Orendine Chavez. I am the External Relations Specialist here at TSHAC, and I have been the main contact for this grant program for a couple years now, and I see a couple familiar names in the crowd. So welcome to all of our returning applicants, and a very exciting welcome to anyone who's new to this program and hoping to apply for the first time. I'll provide my contact information later, but I'm always happy to answer questions one-on-one later on. But with that in mind, I'll start with a quick summary about TSHAC and what we do. TSHAC is a statewide 501c3 nonprofit. We were created by the Texas legislature to facilitate, preserve, and expand affordable housing opportunities for Texans. We currently have our programs that fall within three silos that we like to consider: build, buy, and stay. Our build programs help developers build more affordable housing across Texas, and buy programs are probably our biggest bread and butter. We help low to moderate income families purchase a home through down payment assistance and mortgage credit certificates. But the Texas Foundation Fund falls within the stay silo, which helps households maintain housing stability. Um, so the Texas Foundations Fund is a grant-making program that again supports nonprofits that offer programs that provide housing stability to very low-income Texans. Um, just some notable characteristics about this year's grant structure. Applications, like last year, will be considered on a first come, first served basis until August 1st, 2026, or for as long as funding is available, whichever comes first. The program had a lot of demand last year and did run out of funding before the August 1 hard deadline. So I do encourage everyone to submit a solid application as soon as you can. And again, I'm happy to help assist with any questions you have about that going forward. But because of the high demand, I wanted to start out by reminding everybody that it is first come, first serve. But new this year, all applications will have a grant agreement that contains potential grant terms that all applicants will agree to upon application submission. And if their application is reviewed and accepted by TSHAC, those grants will then, the grant terms will automatically take effect and funding will be dispersed relatively quickly via the preferred payment method that you designate upon application. Um, Again, organizations with budget sizes less than 2 million, like in previous years, will not need to provide an audit. Instead, you have the opportunity to provide your two most recent financial reviews or a letter of support from another funder. Um, Organizations that participate in this program must use the funding to serve housing households that earn at or below 50% area median income. And applications to this program will not be for a specific desired amount of funding, but rather will be, if your application is accepted, you'll be receiving a set amount of funding that is outlined in our 2026 program guidelines, and it's based on the size of your organization's budget. And we have three tiers that are again on, I believe, page 4 of our 2026 program guidelines. Just to quickly go through our partner requirements, we require that all applicants have be a 501c3 nonprofit. They must have been operating housing programs in Texas for 3 years, and the program that you're requesting funding for, you must have been operating for 2 years at least. You also must be able to certify to us that your organization has not defaulted on or been required to repay any federal funding in the past 2 years. You also must meet our financial requirements, which again includes if your organization has less than $2 million in your budget size, you can provide financial reviews or a letter of support, or if your organization receives your annual audits, we need the past two audits, as well as the auditor's required communication letter. And I believe it's an OMB circular, if that applies to you. But our final requirement is that any funding that you receive from the Texas Foundation Fund must go to households that are very low income, earning at or below 50% area median income. Eligible programs fall under two umbrellas. The first is rehab and critical repair of single family homes. Um, a lot of the times, this can include accessibility modifications, health and safety, or critical modifications and repair. Uh, Most of the time, homes that are repaired under this program umbrella are owner occupied, but if your organization owns and operates rental homes and are providing, for example, accessibility modifications for a tenant, you can use this program to do so. The other umbrella is for supportive services and housing and financial counseling services. Um, and that supportive housing services can include anything listed below. For example, case management, physical and mental health care services, and so on. If you do have any specific services that you provide and have questions about, please feel free to either ask questions later or in this webinar, or again, reach out to me. I'm happy to help. Just quickly, some eligible expenses include administrative costs. If you're providing critical repairs, you can submit contractor fees, materials, building permits, and inspection fees. Those all are eligible expenses. Even staff salaries or travel expenses are considered eligible under this program. And just to quickly look over funding timeline for this program, because we're on a rolling application basis, um, we're just going to generally look at things. The goal is at the beginning of the month, starting in March. Um, TSHAC will gather all of the applications that have been submitted. So, for example, all the applications for March that will be gathered up will be the ones that have been submitted since the application has been opened up through the end of February, for example. And TSHAC will review those applications and with the goal of mid-month notifying applicants of any questions that we have, any missing documents that there might be, and we'll provide you with 1 week to provide those missing documents to us in order to keep your application moving forward. Um, if you can't provide those documents within that week, uh, essentially just your application will be delayed till the next review cycle, if that makes sense. Um, but by the end of the month, the goal is for grantees to be approved, be notified of their application approval, and then for the fundings to be dispersed to each organization. Um, a quick note, just to make the process as smooth and pain-free for all of y'all as possible. Please, when you're applying, make sure to read and submit all of the required documentation, whether that's a proof of address for a mail check, or, for example, if you want an electronic ACH payment, uh, our accounting department asks that you provide a copy of a voided check. Just make sure everything is, all T's are crossed, all I's are dotted, and that'll make sure that you receive your funding as quickly as possible. Um, Again, as outlined in our program guidelines, all funding tiers will have a set pot of equal funding available to each tier. So small organization, medium organizations, and large organizations, as defined by our guidelines, will all have the same amount of funding available to them until March 31st of this year, which is the funding tier collapse date, at which point it becomes a bit of a free for all. And so any organizations that For instance, like if all of the funding for the large tier organizations was claimed before March 31st, then that funding collapse would happen and more funding would become available because it's free to, to organizations of every budget size. If you have any questions about that, please let me know. But our final date that I want to highlight is August 1st, 2026. That is our hard deadline for submission. Again, if we run out of funding but prior to this date, the online application will close, but this is just our like final deadline if funding remains available for until then. So now we're going to start the walkthrough of the application process. So let me just switch over to that screen. All right. Hmm. So to get to the online application, you'll go to www.tsahc.org and you'll go over to the right-hand side and click on the Nonprofits and Governments tab. You'll see Texas Foundations Fund and then Annual Grants, and you'll click on Annual Grants. I apologize for if I'm hoarse, guys. Allergies are rough right now. But it'll take you to this annual grants page, and if you scroll down, you will see that the 2026 Texas Foundation Fund application is now available. And it has a bunch of instructions and text, including step-by-step instructions on how to apply if you just want a quick summary of this webinar after we're done. That's a great resource. But what I want to highlight before we jump into the application is just these links to our program guidelines and FAQ document. If you have questions about eligibility or like program eligibility, this is the quickest way to find an answer. And if you can't find an answer in that, please, or you have like a specific case that you want me to think to converse with you about, I'm happy to do so. But this is probably the easiest way for you to find answers. So please be sure to click on those. But if you scroll down to the step-by-step applications and click on the Apply Now button, well, first of all, you'll find my contact information. So if you need that, just know that it's accessible via this page. But if you click on Apply Now, it will take you to our online application portal. And the first step, if you are a new applicant, is to create an online account for this portal. And that will allow you to apply, save your progress, come back to it as needed, and then later log in and report on this grant if your application is accepted. So after you have created an application, or if you're a returning applicant after you've logged in, you can go ahead, go to this program and hit the green apply button. I've already started my online test application, so we'll go to that. Um, when you hit the apply button, you will only see an eligibility quiz. None of these other tasks will be there. It'll just be the eligibility quiz to start with. And it'll take you through the same threshold requirements that are listed out in our program guidelines. And you'll click through answering the questions. If you're a 501(c)(3) nonprofit, what kind of program you're requesting funding for, all of our eligibility criteria. And if you answer, well, actually, let me scroll down to where you can actually see it. If you answer, for example, wrong, quote unquote, to a question, it'll let you know if you're ineligible. So you don't have to go through the process of filling out an application and spending all that time on doing so. It'll just upfront say, hey, this might not be the best match. Reach out to me for confirmation. I'm happy to help, but it will let you know also if you're eligible to apply, in which case you fill out your organization name, contact name, email address, and mark as complete. It'll give you a green check mark, and if you pass the eligibility quiz, all of the following application tasks will pop up and be available to you. So I'll take you quickly through the application form. You'll fill out the basics, organization name, address, main phone number, and then also whoever your main primary point of contact is going to be for this program for your organization. Put their name, title, email, and phone number here. This is who I'll be reaching out to for any needs that we have for the grant, whether that's any deficiency, missing documents or questions part of the application process, or later on I'll reach out to people for reporting requirements, and so you'll put that point person here. You'll also just give us a heads up. We'll double check, but give us a heads up. Are you a previous grantee? Let us know which counties in Texas you'll be serving. And there's quite a few of them. So once you scroll down, you'll pick out your program type. Just confirm for us that you'll reserve the funds received from the Texas Foundation's Fund for households earning at or below 50% area median income. And then the special populations question isn't required. Our only requirement for this grant is that, again, it goes to households earning at or below 50% area median income. But if you're an organization that's providing services or critical repairs for a certain population or demographic, for example, veterans or seniors with disabilities or something along those lines, this is an opportunity for you to highlight that. And it's not a requirement to receive grant funding, but again, it's just a chance to tell us what's going on, and what your story is. But question one in the program narrative section is basically about your organization, its history, when it was founded, what what all sorts of programs that you offer, even if it's not necessarily the programs that you're requesting funding for. This is the space to brag a little bit about your organization. And question two is the opportunity to dig deeper into the details of the program that you'll be requesting funding for. How many households do you serve with the program? What do your clients look like? What are their needs? All of that goes here. Question three is an opportunity for you to tell us what's going on locally. What is going on in your community to where the need for this program exists. This is where you're going to drop in any data, demographic information, letting us know like whatever sort of community partnerships that you have, to help you provide services to your community and to your clients. All of that goes here in question three. Question four just asks a little bit more about how you document the success and impact of your program, the data that you collect to do so, and whether or not you incorporate participant feedback. Question five is a program budget upload. We do list out the requirements for the program budget. I'm also happy to provide you an example budget template. I don't know. I actually uploaded the template itself to the application to have in here, but it looks something like this, where it has your projected proposed expenses for the program, and this actual expenses will be used if your application is accepted, and when you're reporting on the grant at the end of the grant year, the actual expenses column will be used in that at that point. Um, but that's the budget template that we have. If you want it, please reach out to me and I'll happily send that to you. But if you just want to upload whatever your organization already uses, this is just make sure that it meets this criteria here. And if it, for any reason, it doesn't work, we'll let you know again within that 1 week deficiency period. But for the most part, it usually isn't as a big issue. Um, so question 6 is an opportunity for you to provide um, information about like if you need more than 5% of your grant funding to go towards administrative costs and you'd like to request up to 10% of that funding to go towards administrative costs, this is the place to just explain why you'd like that. Most grantees don't need more than 5%, but if you do, just let us know why. It'll go right here. Question 7 is again not always used. Most grantees will or applicants will put NA, but if you have any ongoing complaints, litigation, disputes, um, this is an opportunity to kind of explain what's going on and just let us know. Section 3 includes an upload for your IRS 501c3 designation letter. This is just, again, proof that you're a 501c3 nonprofit. Um, so you upload that there. And the certification section is split into two. Uh, Please, like when you're actually applying, go through and read through each one. But what I want to highlight on this webinar is that it's split into two, really three sections. One is certifications that all applicants will need to fill out or check. And so once you do, you'll go then to two different other certification sections. One, you only need to fill out if you are a critical repair applicant, and the other one is for if you are a supportive services or housing counseling services applicant. And so if you would like to just go ahead and check all the boxes, you can, but you don't need to. Just check whatever section for my test application. I'm doing a supportive services grant application. Uh, I only need to check this one box, and not necessarily the critical repair applicant certification boxes. Um, so with all that said, we're getting to the end of the application form. Um, Grant promotion, we're just asking how you communicate about the grant funding. How do you get your services known in your community? Whether it's through social media or community partners, this is a place to let us know what's going on. And then another very important part is selecting how you'd like to be paid if your application is approved. We always highly recommend an electronic ACH payment. This is the quickest way. It avoids any lost mail. And we do require that you submit a ACH request form with a copy of a voided check. The link to the request form is here, and if you click on it, it'll take you to a fillable PDF, and you can upload both. Sorry, just give me 1 second to navigate back. If you would prefer a mail check, just upload a proof of address along with a point of contact. So that way the check goes, for example, if I were the point of contact for this grant application, the check would come to me and then I would make sure that my organization's accounting department gets it. It just helps make sure that people stay in the loop. So please make sure to give us a contact when uploading that proof of address. But once you've got the application form filled out and everything uploaded, you're gonna hit mark as complete. Or if you want to come back to it, save it, you can hit save and continue editing. But marking as complete will give you again the green check mark saying that you're good to go, and you can move on to the rest of the application tasks, which are for the most part uploads. We ask that you submit a list of your board of directors, as well as any key staff members, like again, the main point of contact, or your president or executive director. That would go here. Each application upload will include another mark as complete button you'll see later. but I've pre-filled these out for the sake of expediting this walkthrough. The next thing that you will need to submit is your most recent financial requirements, financial statements, excuse me. This includes your organization's budget sheet and income statement. The income statement can also be called the profit and loss. And these need to have matching dates and be dated no earlier than November 30th, 2025. Um, yeah, ideally they should be prepared for the beginning of uh, the current fiscal year that you're in. Or I guess if your fiscal year starts on January 1st, then your past fiscal year, but it should give us a good number of months to review your financial statements. Excuse me. So here is what most of these upload tasks will look like. I've already dropped in my upload, but you'll have the instructions up here. Please upload the total organizational wide budget for 2026. And it'll give you the opportunity to attach or upload a file. And it'll also let you know what file formats are accepted for the upload. PDF, document, Word document, Excel spreadsheets. It won't be the same necessarily for each upload task. So if if anything happens and it rejects your upload, just make sure to double check these. But once you've gone in and uploaded your file, you'll hit mark as complete and it will make sure that you're good to go. Um, Financial requirements. For organizations with a budget size of $2 million dollars or above, we do ask that you submit your two most recent financial audits, along with the auditor's required communication letters. Um, OMB Circular A133 audits are also required if they are applicable to your organization. If your organization is smaller and doesn't have a budget size of $2 million dollars or more, you can upload your financial audits if your organization receives a financial audit each year. Um, or you have the option of submitting your two most recent financial statements as reviewed by an independent auditor or a reference letter from another funder that's supported the same program that you're applying for funding for. Um, if you have any questions about our financial requirements, let me know. I think this is one of the more instructions heavy upload tasks, so I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have later. Um, the next thing is our IRS Form 990. Please make sure it's the most up-to-date 990 that you have. Um, if not, I might end up chasing you down for a more recent form. If and I just mentioned this because if for example you submit a 2020 IRS 990, our financial reviewers are going to ask me to come in and see if you have a 2024 or 2023 one instead. So just keep that in mind. But this is where you would upload your 990. We do ask that you provide a list of all government, corporate, and foundation contributors to your organization as a whole for the past 3 years. That's 2025, 2024, and 2023. We also ask that like each contribution include the years, amounts, and what program they funded. The final upload task is for the program funding sources itself, projected for the year of 2026. If you plan on applying for funding from a certain funding source, just we ask that you let us know that you are hoping or applying for it or hoping to get funding, but that it hasn't been confirmed. And if you already have received funding from another funding source and it's been confirmed, you can let us know that as well. Finally, at the very end is a grant agreement. Um, I highly recommend that you sit down and read through this, as it has a bunch of terms. Um, what I would like to highlight in this webinar is the reporting requirement section. Um, it's just a great document to reference when you're going throughout the grant year and might have a question like, hey, is this going to be required for me to report on like at the end of the year? We have bullet points for all of it here. We even let you know that, hey, the final report form will be accessible in the same online reporting portal as we're using to apply. We have a photo release form for if you want to submit photos of households served or clients. And the other section that I'd like to highlight is just we do ask that if you have any change in like key personnel or address or contact information, please let us know. It helps make sure that like everybody stays in contact, and it is required as part of the grant agreement. Um, but once you read through all the grant terms and get to the bottom, you'll see that there is an opportunity for you to confirm what award amount you would like to receive, or that, not that you would like to receive, excuse me, that you expect to receive based on our program guidelines for the year. We even include like if your budget size is less than $2 million, this will be your grant amount. You just select it on the drop down and we'll be good to go. You also are going to want to confirm the program type that you're requesting funding for and the counties that will be served using this grant. Finally, we'll come to the signing portion, the electronic signing portion. Make sure that it is a signatory that is familiar with the application and can sign off for your organization. They'll just type in their name, their title, and again, confirming your organization name and the date that they're signing it. Um, and then once you're done with that, you'll click mark as complete. And the last thing I would like to stress is that when you're going to submit your application, you're done, you're ready to hit submit. Make sure that each application task has this green check mark on the left on in the list of the application tasks. Because when you scroll down to the very bottom, it'll tell you, okay, 10 out of 10 tasks are complete. You can review your application before you submit, just to make sure that everything looks fine, everything looks good in your eyes. And once you hit submit, this is what tells the system, hey, like you're officially finished. It is officially submitted. We have had application applicants in the past, excuse me, finish an application, but forget to hit submit. And excuse me. That's why I really want to stress, make sure you hit the big green submit button, and click yes. Again, I want to hit submit. It'll ask you for confirmation. And when you do officially submit it, it'll give you a green check mark, let you know, and you should receive an automated confirmation of application to your email address that you created when you put in when you created your account in the online portal. So there's multiple ways to tell that you have officially submitted your application, but I want to stress, just make sure you actually let the system know that you're done. I want to make sure that all your good applications make it through. But with that being said, that wraps up the application walkthrough. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and start taking questions. Let's see. Okay, sorry guys. I see that there have been several comments and I wasn't able to see it while walking you through the application. Michelle, will it hurt our chances to ask for more than 5% for administrative allowance? No. It It doesn't. It's just letting it's purely let us know, like, hey, one, we are using more than 5% for administrative allowance, but two, this is what it's for. So it's just again an opportunity. It doesn't hurt your chance at the application being accepted. It, although I do see that one of my coworkers is on here answering these questions. Let's see. If anyone has a question that hasn't been uh, answered in the chat, please feel free to speak up. I'm happy to talk that out with you.
Okay, I have a question. The
Yes.
certification for supportive services and housing counseling services, we're a financial empowerment organization offering financial coaching to people who hope to be homeowners. I see the wording in there. I just want to make sure we don't actually have to own the housing that they live in, do we?
No, you do not.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, it's good to meet you. Thank you for hosting the webinar today. Uh, a couple weeks ago, I sent you an email. We're a council of government. We have a housing, veterans, and aging department. We've done projects with housing very similar to this grant. My question is the 501c3. We are a hybrid 501c3. Now, we have different divisions that are in the process right now of getting those designations this year. We've hired an outside attorney to help us with the paperwork because there are some that are going to benefit from having that designation. Would that exclude us from applying? Because I took the quiz the other day and there's some questions that are, in my opinion, very gray because we sort of do it, but we don't do it like exactly like that. Would that knock us out, or would you encourage us to continue with the process and just file everything?
Um, so just to confirm that I have it correct. Your council of organizations and
Council of Government,
you're
yes.
all, yeah, and the individual organizations have 501c3 designations.
Our departments do. Some of them do, yes. We have Texas Workforce, we have Aging Development, we've got Transportation, we have a new veterans silo now, which is Veteran Directive Care, Veteran Housing, so forth. But the COG itself overall doesn't have the 501c3. So different divisions, because of their missions, some of them are going to be designated in probably the next month or two of having their own exclusive 501c3 depending on their departmental mission.
Okay. Um, I may need to ask
I'll have to
about
follow
it,
up an
David.
email. No
Yeah,
problem.
yeah. So,
Okay.
yeah, but I'll make sure to ask for you. That is a good
Thank you.
question. Let's see. Anybody else have any questions?
Yeah, I just had a question if we could see an example again or about how to communicate the 2026 anticipated funding sources. I know originally we had thought about maybe just explaining the different events we want to host, some grants that we feel high probability, but we haven't heard back. Like, how do we communicate that best? Just want it in a Word document, or what do you like?
Yeah, so formats that we've received in the past are Word documents or Excel spreadsheets that do just list out, um, for example, like grant sources of funding. They'll list, for instance, Texas Foundations Fund, $10,000 anticipated. But for more individual level contributions, they might, I think what I've seen in the past is they'll put the event in like anticipated contributions, but with the designation that it is individual contribution, so it's not necessarily guaranteed, it's anticipated or hoped for. So does that provide you with enough guidance?
Yeah, no, that's great. We were just going to list out the events and who we're looking to partner with, but I hadn't put as much thought as actually putting prices with those, and so that's helpful. Thank you.
Of course. Let's see. For funding sources, is the question specific to the program or organization? For the uploads, we do have like a funding sources upload that covers the anticipated or the past funding sources that you've received for your organization as a whole. And then a separate upload task that is just anticipated sources and confirmed, anticipated and confirmed sources of funding for the program for 2026. Um, I hope that answers your question, Jennifer.
Anna, did you say that for organizations with 2 million or less in budget, the max amount will be 13,000?
So it's outlined in our 2026 guidelines for budget sizes below $2 million. That should be $10,000.
10,000.
Um, yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, again, I will drop my contact information into the chat right now. Um, but if you don't have any other questions, I mean, I'll let you wrap up your lunch hour early, and I'll release you. But again, please reach out to me if you have any questions. But otherwise, I look forward to seeing all your applications and hopefully working with you all this year. All right. I'll drop those in now, and but thank you, everybody.
Thank you.